This is my review of Assassination Classroom. Okay, so this episode actually showcases a plot twist that, if you've been paying attention, should have been obvious the whole time. And this plot twist is actually why I decided to review the series. I will get to that in a minute. So it starts off with everybody reminiscing about the play that they just put on, and with Sugino merely remarking that he feels a little bit embarrassed because, as he points out, he wasn't too confident about the whole appearance and about how he feels like it might have looked scary to Kanzaki, because as we've established, he kind of likes her a little bit. But Kanzaki really remarks that she was impressed by his performance regardless, and that's enough to turn his entire mood around, and even decides to take up acting full time if that was so convincing to her. Korosensei even reinforces this point, pointing out that everybody needs to be able to know how to act, and that every good assassin needs to be able to act and pose as somebody else, because that is kind of a valuable piece of the toolset. Being able to blend into your environment and being able to be whoever you want. As he's saying that, Kaede actually signals Nagisa and asks him to follow her. And he takes her to the shed, where as it turns out, she made a bit of a mess. She spilled a bunch of beads all over the floor and asks Nagisa to help clean up. And he does, and eventually Korosensei shows up looking for them. And after realizing the mess that Kaede has made, decides to help clean up as well. And as they're cleaning, the three of them actually reminisce about all the things they've done up to this point, and about how much they've come in the past year. And Korosensei even points out that they were amateurs when they first started out, but they've actually grown into fully fledged assassins in that time, and he's very much proud of them. And Kaede herself even remarks all the moments she's had with the class over the past year, and that not even everybody knows her true blade. And she even points out that's a valuable piece of advice to take for herself, because as it turns out, she actually does have a secret blade. And it turns out to be antimatter tentacles. So, yeah. Once she then reveals herself, she reveals that she actually has tentacles, and then proceeds to knock Korosensei into a pit trap with anti-sensei BBs at the bottom, and then she proceeds to try and knock him into it, only for Korosensei to knock her back with all of his might, and succeeds in knocking and freeing himself from the pit and knocking her out of it by blowing her away with an energy blast. And at which point he proceeds to emerge from the pit, at which point Kaede lands on top of the building and reveals that she's actually the kid sister of Akari Yukimura, and that Kaede isn't even a real name. So yeah, and then she also points out that she's been waiting this whole time to actually go off and kill Korosensei, and that she's been waiting this moment this whole time, pointing out that he murdered Akari apparently, and declares that she's going to finish him off once and for all, because she realizes that now that the wool has been pulled out in front of everybody's eyes, he points out that she points out that now it's just a matter of killing him, and points out that she'll reset and do it again tomorrow, and that she'll text him the time and place when the time actually comes. And with that, she uses her tentacles to leave. And everybody is just kind of reeling from this reveal. Specifically Itana, because he realizes how much unbearable pain she must have been in to actually keep this secret a secret for so long. Even Itana's had the tentacles implanted on him. He knows from personal experience that without a strict regimen, they can easily overwhelm somebody and cause quite a mess unchecked. So, yeah, the fact that Kaede has been keeping the secret this whole time is kind of shocking to him personally, and everybody also begins to put two and two together and begin to point out that Akari Yukimura is actually their former teacher before Korosensei, and are a little bit confused as to how Kaede is related to her. But they then proceed to also put two and two together, and quickly realize that Kaede is actually her actress little sister. So Yeah, because they quickly piece together that who she is, and so the main reason I like this reveal, and the reason why I said that it was probably the reason I wanted to review the series, is because this entire reveal happens via the jokes. So if you've been paying attention, you'll notice that not only has she displayed several of Korosensei's weaknesses, namely that she can't swim, she's obsessed with boobs, and she has a massive sweet tooth. But in addition to that, she's also shown some amazing acting skills, and it's evident from that she's just been hiding in plain sight this whole time, and has been waiting for the exact moment to actually reveal herself. So, yeah, they've been hiding this reveal in plain sight the entire time, and that's really cool, because they've been hiding it via the jokes, being the slice of life segments, and all of that just came together in this one episode to reveal that Kaede isn't who she says she is, and she's actually an actress who's been playing the whole time. And then most of the bulk of the rest of this episode is actually dedicated to her backstory. As we've established, her real name is, as we turned out, and as Shiro even remarks in a meeting with somebody else who we don't actually see, Shiro points out that she's actually, her first name is Akari, and basically Akari Yukimura has been pretending to be Kaede this whole time. And he even remarks that that's actually pretty impressive himself, because he points out, not only was she able to hide the unbearable pain fairly well, but she was even able to blend in fairly easily, and even remarks that she is a true assassin through and through. At which point we actually do get to hear her backstory about how she used to have a close relationship with her sister. But then one day, while she was doing some acting and was actually had a day off, she decided to go visit her sister at the facility where Korosensei was presumably created. And she goes to at which point the facility actually blows up, and she goes to investigate. And because she's small, she was able to slip through the rubble pretty easily. At which point she sees Korosensei standing over her sister, is a little thrown for a loop because she believes that Korosensei murdered her sister, and then goes to see her sister's lifeless body and tries to wake her up, only to discover the vial of enigmatic tentacle seeds and the instructions explaining what they are and how to use them. At which point she decides to take some home and proceeds to put her plan into action. So she remembering that the only thing that she and her sister actually share resemblance-wise is their hair. She dyed it green. She implanted the antimatter tentacles on the nape of her neck. And then she gave herself a fake name, forged identity papers, and then you passed the entrance exams to get into Kunigayaka, and then deliberately got herself in trouble so that she would be sent to E-class. Also that she could go to E-class and observe Korosensei for a year so that she could figure out the best method of assassinating him, which is dedication. I should point out that's dedication to the role to a T. And also as part of her plan, she actually decides to befriend Nagisa and put him in the role of the main character so that she could remain as a background character this whole time and just kind of hide in the shadows, as it were, so that she can bide her time until she's ready to actually assassinate Korosensei. And also, she's the one who gave Nagisa his pigtails because when they first met, he had it in a ponytail, and even remarks that it was too long and that he wanted to cut it, but for the time being, he was just gonna have to deal with it. So she decided to give him his pigtails and decided that they should match, and then they became fast friends, as I should point out. But in any case, after all that reveal, she's actually standing on a cliffside waiting for her chance to actually go off and kill Korosensei. And as she's waiting, Shiro actually shows up and points out that what she's doing is actually very dangerous. As he's quick to point out, the tentacles are slowly eating away at her, and that she hasn't been maintaining the regimen to actually keep them in check. And that if she goes in to fight in this condition, even before he puts in all the preparations to actually deal with Korosensei, that she could very well hurt herself. But she merely remarks that she doesn't care, that she's going to deal with Korosensei, and then leaves. And Shiro merely remarks that how cold she is, and then even remarks that even to her own family, which implies a heavy connection between I'm gonna just call her Kaede because that's what her name's been up to this point, between Kaede and Shiro. So yeah, look forward to that connection being explored in a later episode. But in any case, it then cuts back to E-class where everybody is still trying to piece together who Kaede actually is, and they quickly point out that quickly notice that she definitely does seem to have a bit of an acting bug before, and they didn't realize how they didn't notice it before. And Nagisa is still reeling from this because he's quickly realizing that he doesn't really know Kaede at all. How long has she been playing this facade, and was any of it actually real? And yeah, this is particularly shocking to him because she was supposedly his best friend, and now it's implied that that's all been an act. So he has no idea how he's supposed to feel anymore. The one person he had as one of his best friends turned out to not be his best friend. So what is he supposed to do with that? At which point all the students then proceed to ask Korosensei what she meant by murder, and proceed to ask him if he would actually divulge the information, pointing out that they don't feel like he's giving them the full story, and that he wants them to actually tell the story. And he professes that after a bunch of prodding that he will tell them the story on the condition that they find Kaede first he tells them all as a class. So basically, gather them all together. Basically, what he wants to do is gather them all together so that he can tell them all the story, and that involves Kaede. And also he points out that they need to find Kaede first, but that he doesn't have to look very hard because Kaede immediately texts him and tells him that it's time for their another assassination battle. So they gather in a wheat field. And Kaede immediately expresses her desire to finally kill Korosensei, pointing out that she's now so excited that it's finally happening, and that she can finally get her revenge after all this time. But several of the characters profess that this isn't the right way to go, pointing out that not only do they remember how much of a pleasant person Miss Yukimura actually is, but also point out that it doesn't jive well with what they know with Korosensei. Karma in particular points out that Korosensei is too nice a person to actually seem like he would be the kind of person to murder somebody. So the fact that kind of seems like he did is a little bit weird. And Itsuno also points out that he realizes that revenge is heavy on her mind, but also points out that she hasn't been maintaining the tentacles this whole time, and that he knows from personal experience that if she isn't careful, she could very well die, or at worst, or be consumed by the tentacles at best. So he points out that if her mind has been completely consumed by revenge, then that's what the tentacles are going to go after, and that's what's going to eventually become her entire driving force for her being. At which point Kaede tells him to shut up, and then the tentacles catch fire because they've started to absorb all of her body heat from nutrients and are now able to regenerate heat from that. At which point she points out that even if her nervous system is starting to go bad, she can still use the last of her strength to kill Korosensei, and that if it grants her some flaming tentacles, so be it. At which point she proceeds to brutally assault Korosensei, and even creates a ring of fire around the two so that the students can't interfere. And quickly attacks Korosensei, revealing her true nature, where the mask finally slips, and that she finally showcases herself. And throughout the fight, she even points out that she's wanted to expose herself for so long, pointing out that she could have killed a whole bunch. She's been in several situations where she could have fought back, used her full strength, and just killed a bunch of people. We've seen several situations up to this point where she could have very well done that. She's been kidnapped, she was attacked by the Reaper and got kicked in the ribs, and then there was this situation with Takaoka. She could have been in any of those situations and could have easily dealt with any of them, but because she was so dedicated to the role, she decided to just hang back and let herself be who everybody thought she was. And also after Itsuno reiterates the point that if she's not careful, the tentacles will very much kill her. And after pointing out how very little of her sanity is left, Nagisa tries to reason with her, pointing out that this can't be what her sister would want. And it is clear that from the scene that the tentacles have started to take over, because while Kaede has gone completely batshit insane on the surface, inside she's actually secretly praying that Korosensei will be able to save her. So yeah, there's a conflicting nature there, that the tentacles have completely consumed her mind, or at least to the extent where where her outward personality no matter matches her inward personality. So she very much is afraid that Korosensei won't be able to save her. But in any case, yeah, this episode actually does pay off quite a few little plot points. It's been building up to this point that that there was somebody before Korosensei who we never actually see. There was a promise that he made that we haven't actually seen up to this point, and now it's clear that that's actually where this is all going to go. So Kaede it's clear that Kaede only has part of the story, because we know that Korosensei didn't kill Akari. We know that she made a promise to him to actually go and teach the students at Class 3E. So yeah, we know that she only has the partial story, which means that Korosensei is going to have to eventually defeat her and reveal the full story behind what happened between the two of them. So that's going to be interesting. And again, I'd like to reiterate that this is probably one of the best plot twists in the series, because, as I've said, and this is the reason why I decided to reveal this, because it just was foreshadowed so long ago, and now it's paying off. It was subtly foreshadowed this whole time, and now it's a thing. So yeah, if you weren't paying attention, it's one of those things. It's one of those shows where you're only paying attention to the lore and stuff. But then this episode happens. It showcases that all of the little jokey bits that it put in were actually part of the lore, and then you just realize that this series has a lot more going on beneath the surface than previously thought, because it took a character that was unassuming as an assassin, and then just made her the main antagonist of this little side arc. So this little arc that has been building for this entire time. And it's really cool. But in any case, that's going to do it for my review of Assassination Classroom. What did you guys think? Let's go discussing over in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also, be sure to check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, and you guys get access to bunch of cool perks that I'm always saying thanks, so be sure to check those out in the description below as well. Also, if you want to see more videos from me, then be sure to check out the videos linked in the end screen. The top video is the most recent video. It may or may not be this one. Whereas the bottom video is the video that YouTube thinks you will like. So, if you want to try something new, or more of what you may like, then be sure to check both of those videos out. But, regardless of whether or not you do any or all of those things, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!